Hello, this is Michael Silva. In this episode, we are going to talk about how to sell using the telephone. One way to strike terror in the heart of most new security consultants is to ask them to pick up the phone and call a prospective client that they do not know. This is often known as cold calling, and along with public speaking, is one of the things that people fear most. Even seasoned law enforcement professionals who have previous law enforcement experience seem like they would rather engage in a gun battle with a violent suspect than pick up a phone and call an unknown person. Making unsolicited telephone calls is also perceived negatively by many new consultants who think of themselves as security experts rather than salesmen or peddlers. Many also fear the rejection that they will encounter when making unsolicited calls. Despite the fear and loathing around making cold calls, this technique is the single most effective one that you can use to get new business. While the technique works particularly well when combined with other efforts such as direct mail campaigns, using just the telephone alone can produce incredible results. The first step in making effective calls is to get yourself in the right mindset. First, you must strongly believe in the consulting services that you are selling. Reflect on what you do and the value that it provides to the client. The services offered by most security consultants reduce losses, prevent injuries, and even help to save lives. Your services should be something that you are proud of and eager to share with your potential clients. Second, reflect on the reasons that you became an independent security consultant in the first place. Whether it is to earn a good living, gain satisfaction by doing what you are good at, or to establish a reputation in the industry, you have goals. Achieving these goals requires getting projects, and getting projects requires making telephone calls. Remember, you are making these calls for you and your family, not anyone else. Third, understand that calling is a numbers game. While a majority of people that you call may reject you or put you off, some percentage of the people that you reach will have an actual need for your services and will actually appreciate your call. You only need to reach a small number of these people each year in order to be successful. The more people that you call, the better your chances are of reaching the right people. Fourth, understand that rejection is just part of the game. Don't take it personally. While most people that you call will be pleasant, some may be rude or downright abusive. Remember that this type of behavior is the other person's problem, not yours. Consider difficult people to be just like turbulence on a plane flight. A few bumps during an otherwise pleasant trip, and nothing that will prevent you from reaching your destination. Fifth, understand that making telephone calls will get easier with time. You will eventually develop a rhythm and perfect your techniques. This can take a couple of hundred calls to achieve, but it will eventually happen, and things will be much easier from then on. Many consultants who once dreaded making cold calls now find that it is one of the more enjoyable things that they do. Before making telephone calls, it is recommended that you write a short script that outlines what you want to say. Novice callers don't seem to see the need to do this and sometimes try to ad-lib or handle a call on the fly. Experienced callers always work from some type of script. Before preparing your script, identify the purpose of your call. Do you just want to make the prospect aware of your services so they can call you when there is a need? Or do you want to sell a specific service right now? Are you trying to sell directly to this prospect or simply trying to get a referral to another buyer? Once you have identified the purpose of your call, you can begin to write your script. It can take time and effort to develop an effective script for each type of prospect that you call, but once developed, scripts can be used over and over and fine-tuned to address new objections that prospects may raise. Over time, using your scripts will become second nature. Here is an example of a telephone call that could be made by a security management consultant who is calling a facility manager at a company without a security department.
Hello, this is John Davis.
Hello, John. This is Joe Smith from Acme Consultants. Do you have a few minutes to talk?
Yeah, I can talk for a few minutes.
Good. John, we haven't met yet, but I am an independent security consultant that operates in the Detroit metro area. I act as an independent advisor to companies such as yours and don't sell any type of security product or guard service. I understand that you are responsible for managing facilities at your company. Let me ask you, are you responsible for taking care of security at your company as well?
Yeah, I handle security, safety, and nearly everything else related to the upkeep of this facility.
Wow. It sounds like you have a big job. Tell me, have you had any major security problems or issues that you have had to deal with lately?
We have been pretty lucky. We have had very few security problems over the years, but lately we have had quite a few break-ins of cars in the employee parking garage. I'm also concerned about all of the shooting events that I have heard about in the news lately. I'm kinda wondering what we would do if someone came into our lobby with a gun.
I certainly understand your concerns. Thefts in the parking garage can upset employees and make them feel nervous about their safety. And news events about shootings at other companies can definitely make you want to rethink the steps that you are taking to protect your employees. Lots of my other clients have expressed concerns similar to your own, and I have been able to help them to identify some cost-effective ways in which they can improve their security. Let me ask you, have you ever worked with an independent security consultant before?
No. We had a security systems company come out last month to give us a quote on installing cameras in the parking garage. I showed their proposal to our company president, but she said that she wasn't sure if this was the right solution and told me to hold off on installing any cameras. We also asked our security guard company for suggestions, and they recommended adding a second security guard just to cover the parking garage. This would nearly double our guard costs, and I'm not sure if it is really needed.
Cameras and guards can be useful tools, but are not a security solution in themselves. I would suggest that you take a big picture look at security before you spend any money on cameras or more security guards. We have a process known as a security assessment that takes a comprehensive look at all of your security needs. This process identifies your security risks and threats, examines your existing systems and procedures, and identifies cost-effective ways in which security at your facility can be improved. This security assessment can be used as a long-range plan to help you to prioritize your security investments. Do you think that your facility would benefit from having an assessment of this type done?
Yeah, I think that doing something like that would be a good idea. What does it cost?
John, if you will permit me, I would like to come by for a quick visit to further explain the security assessment process and learn a little more about your business. After this visit, I will be able to provide you with a written proposal that provides a detailed scope of work along with a firm estimate of costs. There is no obligation on your part, and you can decide whether or not to proceed after you review the proposal. I am available to meet with you on either Tuesday afternoon or Thursday morning next week. Which of these would work best for you?
Tuesday afternoon looks like it would work. I have a meeting that goes until 1 o'clock, but I'm free anytime after that.
Great. How about we plan on meeting at 2 o'clock on Tuesday of next week?
2 o'clock would be perfect. Come to the main lobby off of Howard Street and ask the receptionist to page me when you get here.
Wonderful. I look forward to meeting you on Tuesday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Goodbye.
See you then. Goodbye.
This call went well. The consultant was able to get an appointment for a sales call and probably has a good chance of gaining a paying client as a result of this call. However, things are seldom this easy. Please note that in the call that we just heard, the prospect raised no objections. In real-world calls, this is seldom the case. Therefore, your script should anticipate objections and come up with appropriate responses. Here are a few examples of objections and responses.
Hello, John. This is Joe Smith from Acme Consultants. Do you have a few minutes to talk?
No, I don't have time to talk. I'm about to go into a meeting.
I'm sorry. When would be a good time to call you back?
I should be in the office tomorrow morning, and you can try calling me back then if you want.
Great. I'll try reaching out to you again tomorrow morning. Goodbye.
In this example, the consultant found that when he called, the prospect didn't have time to talk, so he made arrangements to call back at a more convenient time. In some cases, the prospect will use "it's a bad time" as an excuse not to talk, but with a little persistence, you can usually get through.
I understand that you are responsible for managing facilities at your company. Let me ask you, are you responsible for taking care of security at your company as well?
No, I don't handle security. That's taken care of by our safety department.
Good to know. Could you please give me the name and telephone number of a good person to contact in your safety department?
The best person to contact would be our safety manager, Sally Rogers. Her telephone number is 303-414-3356.
Thank you very much, John. I really appreciate your time today.
In this example, the consultant discovered that the person he was calling was not the person responsible for security, so he attempted to find out who the right person was. In this example, the facility manager was willing to provide the name and telephone number of the right contact. The person being called may not always be this cooperative, so you may need to do some additional research on your own to find the right contact if the person is unwilling to provide you with this information.
I understand that you are responsible for managing facilities at your company. Let me ask you, are you responsible for taking care of security at your company as well?
No, I don't handle security. We are actually owned by the Acme conglomerate, and the Acme Corporate Security Department takes care of all of our security needs.
I'm glad to hear that you have a security department that can take care of your security issues for you. Would it be possible to get the name and telephone number of your contact at corporate security?
Sure, let me take a look. Here it is. Our contact at corporate security is Paul Strand out of our headquarters in Chicago. His telephone number is 255-444-1234.
Thank you very much, John. I really appreciate your time today.
In this example, the consultant learned that the facility was receiving security support from a corporate security department that he was not previously aware of. Knowing that he couldn't sell this person on his services, he used this opportunity to find out the name of an appropriate contact person in the corporate security department so that he could pitch his services to them. Many security departments are thinly staffed and may consider using an independent security consultant, particularly when a consultant is located closer to a facility than they are. Some security departments have adequate internal resources and don't hire consultants, but it's always worth a try.
I really don't see the need to hire another consultant. Our security guard company, Zebra Security, also acts as our security consultant and helps us deal with all types of security issues.
Zebra Security is an excellent company and very knowledgeable about security guards, but most guard companies are not well versed in all aspects of security management. Also, there is always the potential for a conflict of interest when a consultant who recommends a security product or service just happens to be the one that sells it. John, if you will permit me, I would like to come by for a quick visit to further explain the benefits of using an independent security consultant instead of relying completely on your guard company. There is no obligation on your part, and if you don't see any benefits in working with me, I will be on my way. I am available to meet with you on either Tuesday afternoon or Thursday morning next week. Which of these would work best for you?
I guess it can't hurt to talk. I can meet with you on Thursday morning anytime before 11 o'clock.
In this example, the consultant was told that the company was using their guard company instead of a consultant to provide them with security advice. In this case, the consultant raised some issues about using a guard company as a consultant and was able to secure an appointment to better explain the benefits of using an independent security consultant instead of the guard company. Efforts such as these are not always successful, but in many cases, a prospect will see the difference and choose to hire an independent security consultant.
We definitely see the value in using an independent security consultant, and in fact, we are already using Abe Vigoda, a consultant out of Atlanta, to handle our security consulting needs.
Abe is a highly qualified consultant and has an excellent reputation. I'm glad to hear that you found someone of his caliber to work with. Thanks for taking the time to talk with me, and I wish you continued success in your relationship with Abe.
In this example, the consultant discovered that the prospect was already using the services of another independent security consultant. This is rare, but does occasionally happen. My personal policy is not to go after the clients of other independent security consultants, but you may choose to take a different approach.
We haven't had any security problems at all at this company. The last company I worked at was crazy, but we have had nothing come up in the way of crime here, which is really surprising considering where we are located. I really don't see any need for your consulting services at this time.
I'm glad to hear that you haven't had any problems. I would appreciate it if you would keep me in mind if you do have a need in the future. By the way, I frequently publish free articles that offer security tips for companies such as yours. With your permission, I would like to add you to my mailing list and send these articles to you from time to time. May I have your email address?
We will definitely consider reaching out to you if we have a need in the future. Yeah, you can send me your articles. I'm always interested in learning new ideas. My email is john.davis@socal.com. john.davis@socal.com.
I have you on my list. I really appreciate your time today, John, and please don't hesitate to call if I can ever be of help.
In this example, the consultant was told that the company was experiencing no security problems at all, and therefore the prospect saw no need to hire a security consultant. Rather than attempting to convince the prospect to take proactive security measures, such as conducting a security assessment, the consultant attempted to get the prospect's permission to get on the consultant's mailing list. The consultant will then send this prospect periodic mailings and check back in by phone with the prospect a couple times a year to see if their requirements have changed. You will likely encounter many other types of objections depending on the types of prospects that you are selling to. Over time, you will develop ways to overcome most of these objections. This will increase your chances of getting new clients using the telephone. A few final tips when making telephone marketing calls. Number one, when first introducing yourself to a prospect, try to find a common connection between you and the prospect. These common connections can include A, the name of the person that suggested that you call a prospect. For example, John, Bob at the ABC Company suggested that I call you. B, the name of an association that both you and the prospect belong to. For example, John, I noticed that you and I are both members of the Moss Bay chapter of ASIS. C, the name of a client that is one of your prospect's peers. For example, John, I just completed a project for Mercy Hospital, which, as you know, is the only other Level 1 trauma center in the state. D, the name of a client that is in close vicinity to the prospect's facility. John, I just completed a security assessment for ACE Laboratories, which is located directly across the street from your plant. Number two, try to keep a smile on your face when you're calling. Imagine that you're talking with a family member or close friend that you really like. While this may sound silly to some, how you feel when making a call can have a big impact on how your message is received on the other end. Number three, try to spend as much time listening as you spend talking. Really listen when the prospect talks. Don't be spending this time thinking about what you will say next. Number four, never interrupt the prospect. Always acknowledge what the prospect has said before making a reply. Number five, don't overwhelm the prospect with too much information. There is no need to provide information on all your qualifications, experience, project history, and service offerings during a single call. Have a specific objective for each call, and when this objective is met, conclude the call. Number six, if you reach voicemail when calling, leave a message. Don't try to read your whole script, but instead say who you are, describe what you do, and leave a callback number. Even if the prospect never calls you back, you have made an impression. Number seven, when a particular prospect seems difficult to reach, try calling an hour before or after the company's stated business hours. Busy people are often in their office early or late and can be especially receptive to receiving calls at this time. Number eight, try not to get cornered into quoting prices or agreeing to a specific scope of work during your marketing call with the prospect. While it is okay to quote a general range of fees, try not to get pinned down on costs until you have had a chance to review the client's requirements. Remember, the purpose of most sales calls is to set an appointment, not to close a deal on the spot. Trying to accomplish too much during a single call can be counterproductive.